So today I'm going to talk a little bit about where I'm from and what I do now. And then I'll go into the tools and the strategies that I think will be the backbone of the workplace for women in the new world. If that's okay, that's what I'm talk about. All right.
Awesome.
So I'm from a small mountain town in Northern California. And I grew up, my mother was a cleaning lady and a wallpaper hanger. And I grew up in a really small town. And my mother didn't really think that I had a lot of drive and passion. But when I was little, she, I made a post earlier this year that talks about me becoming the CEO that my mother wanted me to marry. Because when I was little, my mother taught me how to say hello and goodbye in many languages because she hoped one day maybe I'd marry a businessman. And if he traveled, I could travel with him if I also spoke many languages. My mother put me in ballroom dance classes when I was a little girl because she thought that maybe one day my husband would be an ambassador or something and I could go to gala events and I could dance and present myself well. My mother, she didn't see, there wasn't a lot of women back in the 70s and 80s and 90s who were CEOs and who were bosses. And so the best hope that she could hope for me was that she could educate me in the best possible way. And then maybe one day I'd marry a rich man. So I wrote a post earlier this year on LinkedIn about I was supporting 4 different organizations at the time. I've been in back-to-back meetings all week. It was Friday. I was on a tram in Melbourne, headed back home, and I started breaking down crying because I was exhausted. And I realized that I was becoming the CEO that my mother wanted me to marry. And I just wish so much that she was here to see that because she's no longer with us. But my childhood was chaos, to be honest. We moved in 18 different places by the time I was 18 years old. Which means that I've actually been kind of prepped for this pandemic my whole life. I do really, really well in chaos because as a child, I had to be really calm. My stepfather, who was my father, passed away when I was 9 years old, and my mother died when I was 20. So I didn't have any brothers or sisters. It was just me and the world and the '08 crisis that hit. And so we were hungry. My generation is hungry, poor, and a lot of student loan debt. But yeah, so that's who I am and where I'm from a little bit. Now, my education is weird. So I went to an arts high school for acting because I was a little girl, I always wanted to be an actress. So I went to San Francisco School of the Arts, which is one of the best high schools for arts. And it's like the movie Fame. If you've ever seen the movie Fame or the show Fame from the 80s, that high school, I got to go to that high school. There wasn't any sports. It was a bunch of artists running around. It was so much fun. And then in my undergrad, because I couldn't afford to go to any of the big schools, I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I have a degree as a playwright. And then I have a master's from the University of Tennessee, which is a top 10 university in the world for my degree, which is a master's of fine arts, which is in acting, but specifically within Shakespeare, voice and movement, and mask work. Now, I'm a businesswoman, and none of that makes sense. I know. And that's because in between all that, because I grew up so close to the Silicon Valley, there were so many entrepreneurs around us. All of our uncles and aunts worked for Apple. They worked for Microsoft. Netflix started down the street from me. So this technology was always at my fingertips. And we were the test cases for MySpace. We were the first people on Instagram and on Facebook. And so I was able to build every adult around me and every adult's business around me. I built their social media platforms from the age of 13, maybe 14. Even my godparents had Airbnbs and I went around take the beginning of Airbnbs and I took photos of everything and made them Instagrams for that. So I've always had that technology at my fingertips. Yeah, and then I moved to New York City because I got signed in New York as an actress. So after my master's in Tennessee, lived in New York and got to live out all my dreams, which was fantastic. So what were my old jobs? My old jobs were I was a professional actress for 10 years, professional singer at the same time. I was a bartender in New York. I was a VIP attendant. So I worked for big events like Netflix and National Geographic. So my job was to take care of the celebrities. I was a wedding planner assistant. I worked the biggest weddings in New York, $5 million weddings. They were just ridiculously stupid orchid walls. And my job was always to take care of the bride and make sure that that was happening. And then I was also a professor. So I taught at the University of Tennessee. I also taught in New York City, Shakespeare, playwriting, all that kind of stuff. super exciting. Okay, what is my jobs now? My jobs now is I'm the head of growth and engagement at an accounting firm at Klein Partners Chartered Accounting. I am the dream catcher at Expat Women at Work. I am a founding member of Antipodes Theater Company. I'm a mentor at We Inspire Business and Heals. I'm an advisor at She's the Boss. I'm co-artistic director of Brooklyn Runaways. And I, as of yesterday, am a founder of Melissa David Enterprises, because what I'm doing for this one accounting firm, I'm going to do for all the rest. So this mountain girl who is the daughter of a cleaning lady is now the CEO of her own company officially yesterday. So y'all get to hear that first. Now I want to talk about some books that changed my life, because I want to make sure that I give some tools, because there is so many things that are accessible for everybody that you guys can use to empower yourself, and you can come from anywhere and be something. All right, Rules of Belonging by Fiona Robertson. I'll also put this on a link on my LinkedIn as well as my Instagram later today. So Rules of Belonging by Fiona Robertson. It is the best culture in the workplace. If you are a manager of any sort within a business place, read the Rules of Belonging. All right, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a classic written in 1929. Everyone's like, oh, I read that in college. Read it again. Read it again. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Next book is Trust by Connor O'Malley. Trust by Connor O'Malley is a really good book. And then Career Leap, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I know we've all read that too back in the day. Read it again. Rich Dad, Poor Dad changes your mindset money-wise. Barefoot Investor, manage your money, learn how to do it right. And lastly, the Book of Joy, which is about the Dalai Lama and the Archbishop of Canterbury. They got together and someone else did some studies and spent 5 days with them and talked about joy and what that was. Book of Joy. Your brain is the same as your body, and you need to treat it as a muscle and you need to feed it like it's a stomach. So feed it good information. And I want to talk a little bit about growth and engagement. So what I think the future of the workplace is going to look like. So internal culture is going to be everything. People are going to pick jobs not by money or not by even a space from where the job is to where they are. It's just going to be about culture. Who are the people that I'm working with? What is the feeling and energy of this workplace? Staff retention is going to be so important for companies as we go forward. So the future is a 4-day work week. That is right. It is going to be a 4-day work week, 2 days in and 2 days at home. And that is what the Harvard Review says, not me. So all the businesses are holding on to this archaic system. COVID has broke that. And it is now time for 4 days. I want to talk a little bit about LinkedIn engagement. All right, ladies, it is time to empower yourself with social media and use it as a positive tool. Use LinkedIn. Use it well. Find articles you like, comment on them, say, oh, that's so interesting. Make your own articles, make your own posts about empowering women, about what you are accomplishing at that moment. Men have been doing this forever. It's time for us to also start doing it. Cool. Instagram. Business is in Instagram. Don't be afraid of Instagram as well. Twitter and Facebook, it's good to have that and just to keep random things just updating on that, because you want to fill the Google, whatever you're doing, you want to fill that Google out with you. So when they search your name, it's your LinkedIn, it's your professional Instagram, it's your Twitter, it's your Facebook. That's all professional. And so they don't go anywhere else. They just see you. So my main message with that specifically, because this is my job in real life, is don't be afraid of social media. Change your relationship with it. I just said social media and all of you went, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Oh, I hate doing it. Oh, so much time. So a little calendar invite, turn on some fun music for yourself. And when that calendar invite pops up, you say, okay, it's time to go on LinkedIn. And you take those 15 minutes, the timer goes off, and then you're done. And then remove yourself from it. Because I know a lot of people, the future is shifting that way. And if we don't shift with it, a lot of women are going to be left behind. And I don't want that to happen. All right. People ask me how I navigated in the pandemic. So as I said earlier, a life of trauma has kind of prepared me to stay calm in chaos. Positive mindset is everything. Surrounding myself with good people, Add people who have reached the next mountain so you actually can see how they climbed and they can help you get to that next mountain. It's important to continuously grow your world and keep the people like around you that you love, of course, but make sure you also have people in your life that are going to help you get to the next step. Okay. Having fun is another thing in the pandemic that I have really tried to do. So changing outfits for each meeting. I have a big closet of clothes. Why not? I'm just sitting in my living room. So between each meeting, I change. And sometimes they're like ball gowns, but no one knows because anyone always sees the top part. Taking naps. I take naps. Making exercises silly. So I'm not a huge, like, let's do this every day, but I know we need to move our bodies when we've been sitting down for a year and a half. So I like bear crawl around the house. I've named my weight Garfield. So it says Garfield on it, and I carry a weight around my house. So it's just making exercises funny, and life is short. So make yourself giggle. Now for the future of women, we need to stop putting ourselves in the category for business-wise of sexy or like a man. We are women, we are humans, and we can be in business as so. So my hope for women is that you ask for a seat at the table, that you ask for your raise, ask for your worth, and be kind. And be humble, but take your place. And lastly, I want to end with some quotes. All right, so even though you're sitting and you can't see me and I can't see you, and you're millions of miles away from me, I want you to repeat these quotes out loud where you are right now. It doesn't matter. No one's around you and no one can hear you. So just do it. All right. So humans are spectacularly good at change. And then you say, good. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. And those are from Fiona Robertson and Lewis Howes. All right, next, from Barbara Hausman. Ready? Forgiveness is letting go of the past. Once you accept yourself, only then can you move on. Imagination is power. Leave yourself alone. Process is not the final destination. The people that hurt you are not in this room, so stop hurting yourself. If you don't do it now, you will never forgive yourself. Inhale joy, deep joy. And the most important thing you can do is walk into a room and show them your humanity. If you want to get in contact with me, you can go, I'll put my Instagram, and my LinkedIn is Melissa David. Gertrude, you are a beautiful, beautiful human being. Thank you for letting me come and speak and do my little professor nerd out thing with my little notes.